All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday morning and the lights aren't even on out here yet. I mean, there's one because I just turned it on. And here comes another one. But we have 25 items going out of the store today. A can full of them's Levi's, things that you guys already saw. And I'm just going to grab and go. So this might be a little bit more quick and dirty than we're used to. So I picked these up like 2 weeks ago. Joseph Sable, I think is how you say that. They're yarn embellished leather boots, and somebody messaged me and said, oh, you're asking that much for those used? They sell brand new on this website for that price. You should accept my $20 offer. They sold a day later for $55 free shipping, and so I paid like $6 for those 2 weeks ago at Goodwill. This is the Normal brand, I think is the name on it. The Normal brand. I don't know if it's out of Normal, Illinois, which is a city that is close to here, or what they're thinking is on calling it Normal brand, but it tends to be high end, but it has a slower sell-through rate. I've probably had that for 6 or 8 months, and it finally sold for $38 free shipping. We are running out of train stuffs to sell, but this did sell. Like, you push this button and this mechanism throws this train, oh, I've got it sitting on here, throws this train car sideways and dumps your load. So that only sold for $7 plus shipping. This brownie camera, I'll film you while you film me, sold for $15. I paid like $2.50 for it. Untested. It's not the kind of thing that anybody's going to use, most likely. It's probably just going to be a shelf piece. These Outer Limitses are over a year in my store. They're a hoarder house item, and I listed them relatively quickly. Sold for $13.50 eventually, plus shipping. They are not horror VHS, which we're going to get to in a minute. They're paranormal VHS. These little dudes, a headless horseman, a horseman with a head on, and a bald minifig, and their jousting staff. Those sold for $13.99 free shipping. The first things to sell out of a box that I paid $8 for. So this will put us right at break even. You guys heard about Levi's bowl set over the weekend. So the bowls sold for $45.66. We got to ship those today. This book I paid $1 for. I got a bunch of these in this series for $1 a piece at Goodwill, and it sold for $8.50 plus shipping. And then this ring handle has this big whammo in it. I suspect that happened when we put it in the van because we didn't have them wrap the Fiesta ware. This is the mark HLC, is Homer Lofgren Company Fiesta. And then this ring handle is good, but any of this bright colored stuff in good shape, it's going to do reasonably well, but it's fragile and it's not fun to ship and worry about while it's in transit. And we're parting out this Dirt Devil, and all the parts have sold now except for that foot plate, which is probably going to take some more time. That's probably the longest tail. This sold for $14.99 free shipping, I think. And then right here underneath that box is this box that has a vintage Woolrich corduroy shirt. We picked this up for $3. It sold for $17. That's a vintager Woolrich tag. You can find the ones with have birds on them. They're a little more vintage. They would do better. This one isn't even old enough to be made in the US. It's made in Mexico. I was 41 years old when I realized that was a sheep on there. Wool sheep. Still, this is a good piece. So I paid $4 for it. It sold for $17 in just a couple of days. And that was plus shipping. In here we have a whole bunch of space-themed stickers. New old stock. I want to say they're mid-90s probably. I don't know if they had a date on them or not. Stickers by Eureka, made in the US, space-themed. Sold for $13 plus shipping, I think. So when it comes to PC games, as in computer games, there are two kinds. There's ones that are just like CDs or CDs in little cases. And then there's this that's called a big box. And this was a thing in the late 90s, the early 2000s, big box. And if you can find them sealed, even like Deer Hunter, which is not really a desirable game would do fairly well. I paid $1 for a big stack of these, and a couple of them sold for 50 bucks right away. And this one took 6 months or so and sold for 17 free shipping. Yeah. And this can't go media. It has to go first class, if I can get it to go first class, but I don't want it to get crushed. 17. I may only make $5 on it, because if it has to go priority, it would probably cost me $9 to ship. And the last of the Levi stuff, this little bowl sold for almost $50. Just an unusual little piece. Well, I think we paid $2 for it, but we'll have to ship all this Fiesta out. And I got my American Bubble Boy bubble wrap ordered on Saturday, hoping that it shows up today. This hat is all at once awesome and terrible. It has this signature. I couldn't figure out who that was at all. But it's new with tag, but it's stained. And so I didn't ask very much for it, because if this didn't have the stain or the signature, it would have been worth more. But I got it in a big mess of hats that I didn't pay very much for them, so I listed this one cheap. $10.50 plus shipping. Over here in 94, should be right underneath this racetrack, we have that box I bought that had some anime DVDs. One of them sold. Not that one. That one. NUX Boku. Anime is always worth looking up. Anime DVDs that you haven't heard of. Like Dragon Ball does okay. Pokemon doesn't really count. But like this kind of adult oriented, not like adult, but like this isn't a kid's cartoon. The way that Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z are more aimed towards kids. And so this sold for $45 free shipping, I think. Pez are never going to make a whole bunch of money, but all 4 Ninja Turtles will do okay. I almost regret listing these, because I should have kept them and just hung them up for 15 bucks plus shipping. That would probably been the better way to go for me, but they sold for 15. I'm looking for Donatello, who legit is not in this pile. He must have fallen in. And then these 4 guys sold for $8.50 plus shipping, just Marvel characters. So what I have left is Star Wars characters and holiday themed characters. The holiday theme will be really long tail. There's Donnie trying to sneak away from me. So comic books and Ninja Turtles, which could apply as comic books, sold because they're themed characters. The Star Wars will sell. The holiday ones may never sell. But they were part of the lot that I was buying, so I listed them, because if they sit here for 2 years and eventually make me $5, how is that worse than donating them back? Donating them somewhere? They ain't hurting nothing. We'll see what happens. It took me 4 seconds to take the pictures and list them. I guess I'm trying to convince myself that it wasn't a waste of time. All of this stuff sold. The Faces of Death I sold on Mercari. I basically just use Mercari as a place to sell stuff that would get zeroed on eBay, such as these Faces of Death that I did try on eBay and they didn't work, and then some other stuff, Dr. Seuss books that you're not allowed to sell. All of these VHS tapes sold on auction, starting at a penny plus shipping, sold for $61. Horror VHS has a huge market, so you can do something like this on auction without fear of it not catching bids, because there is a market for this that will support an auction. This piece has an interesting story to tell. This is a magazine, Science and Fantasy. I think it might even be issue 1. It's a collector's edition. Maybe it's issue 205. Anyway, it has in it a poster, a beautiful like fan art poster from Star Wars. And you can see it. I'll put it in the comps. You can see it there. Really cool poster. I bought this without comping it because it's a 80s Star Wars magazine and it was $1. I did the comps, and I could not believe that the comps were like $5-7 on the magazine with the poster. So then I was like, how about just the poster? And the poster, this one, because I listed it as the poster with the magazine and not the magazine with the poster sold for $25. But if you buy this, if you list this as a magazine, it doesn't sell for nearly as much. So that's just an interesting marketing thing. People want this poster and know to look for the poster, but if you list it as a science and fantasy magazine, it is less likely to sell and tends to comp less money. At least that was the case the day that I was comping it. I got this at Spoon River, so it would have been early October, and I got it out and comped it and listed it relatively quickly. So it's not like it was quick, but it sold for $25 plus shipping. And I believe it was because I marketed it as the poster and not the magazine with the poster. These are another interesting thing. They sold for $22 free shipping, but I got them inside a pair of shoes, and the thrift store did not charge me for them. Shoes were $3. These were inside the shoes I was buying. I got them for free. The shoes haven't sold, but these sold. And so they've been listed about a week, and they are... Shoe trees are coming up again as people are starting to get back to the office and people are dressing up a little bit. Shoe trees are becoming a thing that some people want. And so I would say not all shoe trees are great. These are older and marked on that metal as Rochester, but these are in nice shape. They're a medium size, and I would comp shoe trees if I saw them now. Vans hoodie, I think it's a men's small. It is small. Yeah, it's a size small. I picked this up for like $6. It sold for 10 plus shipping. Vans is a brand that does reasonably well, but I've been into taking offers, and somebody lowballed me enough that I felt like I was making money, and it was profitable. Probably was break even, but I've had it a long time. This hat I got from the McDonald's manager, where I got a whole bunch of hats. Fitted don't tend to do as well, but this starter is a good thing. And then this is 100% wool, which is a really good thing. Sold for $18 plus shipping. I had all my hats on sale for 25% off. The buyer messaged me and said, hey, a couple of days ago this was $18.75, and I put it in my cart, and now I can't buy it at that price. Is it still available at that price? It had gone back up 30% to 24 or whatever it was. And so I adjusted the price like he sent me an offer, and we got it sold for $18. I paid $1 for it. Pretty sure this long sleeve men's Milwaukee, and it has a little Milwaukee hit on the back, long sleeve red men's medium t-shirt. Pretty sure I picked it up for $1 at the St. Anthony's garage sale, and it sold for like $9. But it sold really quick, so I might have priced it up and done well with it, but that's where I felt like it would sell, and it did. Things are always going to sell for cheaper. So if you aren't getting sales in your store, if you're having trouble with keeping sales flowing in, things are going to sell for cheaper. But if you price them above market, there isn't any incentive for someone to buy above the market. So if you're 20% waiting for a best offer, 20% above market waiting for a best offer to come in, think about that as a shopper. Would you shop eBay and you find 2 or 3 things, and one thing is pretty close to the price that you're thinking about, and one of them is 20% with best offer? Would you just buy the one that's regular price, or would you best offer the one that's overpriced? I think a lot of people, I see it in a lot of Facebook groups, people are like, just price that at $1 million and wait to get a best offer. I think most people don't want to waste their time. They just want to find the thing, buy it, and get it shipped to them. I think the idea that you can price above market and make sales when people best offer you is flawed. And I think my sales kind of reflect that, as I've been buying things with good sell-through rate and pricing them a touch below market. I'm over $300 every day, almost every day of the new year. I've been A couple of days where I had $150 or $200 in sales at the very beginning. But for the last 12 days, I've been over $300, some up as high as 5. Yesterday was well over 4. And so I'm getting sales with that principle, that pricing at or just below market and sending out a little bit of an offer and listing every day and getting things with good sell-through is how this works. It's how it works for me. It's how it works for the people who taught me how to do it. It's how it seems to work for a lot of people, and I bet it would work for you. But if you're going to price things 25% above market and hope for best offers to come in, you're probably just going to sit around and wait for people to buy stuff that other people are going to sell them cheaper. This is a bunch of low dollar McDonald's pins that came from that same McDonald's manager a bunch of the hats came from. Sold for $12.99. I bet they were plus shipping. They almost had to be plus shipping. Think about this. As eBay sellers, and eBay is trying to change this, we aren't building a brand and having people shop our eBay store. You're not going to move customers from eBay onto your Instagram and then sell to them direct. People are shopping eBay and our stores are piggybacking on eBay. Not we're on eBay building a brand and people are shopping from our store. So the idea that you're going to get a premium for your item that somebody else is asking less money for only works if you're promoting that and they don't see the other item. Even if you have a super unique thing that nobody else has, it's still like, oh, well, this one has the star logo that's blue instead of purple, so this one is better than, it's more rare because all the other ones are blue and mine's purple. If you're buying that, doesn't matter to you. That you got to think about the common buyer. If you're trying to sell to the upper echelon collectors, that market is thin and your sales are going to be thin. I'm selling common items to common people for common prices, and I get a lot of sales doing that. But if you're different people have different business models, but I don't think that eBay is here for us to price items high, hoping that high rolling whales come in and buy things from our store. I think the bulk of the sales are, there's statistics to prove the bulk of sales on eBay are below $30. Something like 70% are below $30. And 50% are below $12. So that speaks to the idea that people who are shopping on eBay are not people who shop on Grailed and who shop on Depop, or what's the one that's, I don't remember there's another really high-end used clothing kind of thing. But people who shop on eBay are not top of the market people most of the time. And so most people's business model should not be sell everything at the top of the market, because the guy who wants to buy the most expensive one on the comps, this is something I thought of a long time ago. If there's one in Terapeak that sold for $200, the guy who wanted to spend $200 on that already bought it. So that guy's gone. He's off the market. Now you're left with the pool of people who want it but didn't want to spend money before that guy bought it. So you lowering our expectations of what eBay market can bring. I'd rather sell one $120 item than sell 4 $30 items, because it's easier to pack this stuff. But selling one $120 item a week versus 4 30 items a day is definitely the better way to go. So you have to find things that people want, and you have to price them aggressively. You can't price them inflated. Like, people are dealing with inflation and the price of everything's going up, and they have less money to spend. Soapboxing, but I feel like this is pertinent soapboxing. So anyway, don't be the guy who overprices everything and then hopes to get sales and says eBay's broken because you're not getting sales. I see that there's 2 or 3 Facebook groups that I'm part of. Casey Paris's group, Bolo Buddies, and the RVA group. And everybody's whining, oh, eBay's broken. I'm not getting any sales. Why aren't I getting any sales? My sales are up 15% since the first of the year because I'm pricing things aggressively and they're moving. All right, I'm done with this conversation. Are you done with this conversation? Hit me in the comments. And that is all that sold for today. So I got to get this stuff packed and out to the mailbox. And then I got to list a whole bunch of stuff. Between me and Levi, we did 52 listings on Sunday. Now, I spent Saturday, I did like 12 listings, and then I took pictures of 41 shirts. So then I listed those 41 shirts while Levi listed probably 15 items, just kind of taking pictures of stuff on the couch and then putting it in saved drafts, and then I would review it, and then I scheduled a lot of those out. But anyway, we ended up with 52 listings on Sunday. So I want to kind of keep that momentum and see if I can't get at least 25 by myself today. But at first I got to get 25 items that sold shipped. So I'm going to do that. Talk to you later.